What's up, gamers? I'm back with another video. This time around, talk to you about the glorious Model O. I used the Model O for several months when I was at the peak of my Fortnite addiction, which were dark, dark times. I barely left this room. And I know in my last video I totally poked fun at people who went and bought a lightweight mouse to be better at Fortnite. Honestly, guys, that joke is on me because I did the same damn thing. But this mouse performed great for those several months, and it performed really great last week. I used it all last week for some Call of Duty, some Hyperscape, as well as some aim training, and some of the results were pretty dang surprising. This mouse actually pissed me off for all the right reasons for the Model O, and I'll get into why. But I do want to summarize this mouse real quick. I know there's a ton of reviews out there that talk about the specs of this mouse since it's been out for a while, so I don't want to beat a dead horse, but it is an ambi mouse. It comes in two colorways. It comes in white, it comes in black. It comes in two finishes. You can choose between a matte finish that weighs 67 grams or a gloss finish, which weighs 68 grams. I picked a matte finish at 67 grams. And the finish has been great for me. However, I haven't used the gloss, so I have no experience with the gloss Model O. Now, the switches on the Model O, though, they're great. There's no really pre or post travel that's noticeable. You can see it if you squeeze really, really slowly and look closely, but you have to be looking for it. It's not, it's not anything that you're going to notice in game by any means. The side buttons on the Model O are great. I try to use the side buttons as much as possible because I really like to keep my hands on my movement keys as much as I can. And so for me, having good side buttons is a must-have. There's a lot of mice out there I won't use because the side buttons just aren't up to par, but this is not one of them. They work great. And the one button, though, I do have issue with on the Model O is the scroll wheel. The scroll wheel is a little bit mushy. It's not very tactile at all. I notice this the most when playing Fortnite because of scroll wheel reset. I would flick my scroll wheel quite often, but outside of that, I really didn't notice it, and I don't think it slows you down by any stretch of the imagination, but it would be nice to get a little bit more tactile feedback like you do on other mice with a little bit better scroll wheels. There is a DPI indicator on the bottom of the mouse as well as a DPI switch on the top so you can flip through your DPI options, and you can customize these options in the Glorious software. I do have the Model O on hand that has the updated cord, so the cord is a little bit more flexible than that very first version that came out. But if you're buying the Model O now, you don't have to worry about that. They all have an updated cord, a little bit thicker sidewalls, maybe a couple smaller updates as well. But so for the purpose of this video, I am talking about the current production Model O, not those first batches that came out that had a few other issues that they since resolved. So with that out of the way, I do want to talk about how the Model O performed this past week. This past week, I stated I played some Call of Duty, and that's true. I played about 20 hours of Modern Warfare, specifically multiplayer. I really didn't notice any issues at all. I thought I performed great. My flicks were on point. I ran the Kar 98 quite a bit. Those of you that don't play Call of Duty, the Kar 98 is a sniper rifle that's very quick. It's meant to be pretty snappy. It's not something where you hard scope a lot. You just kind of run and gun with it. So it's very important to be able to flick quickly with it. And the Model O performed great for this function. Overall, I felt that the Model O performed fantastic in Call of Duty. Now, when it comes to Hyperscape, and the reason why I like to test out Hyperscape right now as well, because Hyperscape has a much longer time to kill and much, much faster movement. So tracking is very, very important. So Call of Duty, being able to snap onto people is a little bit more important than it is for Hyperscape, where Hyperscape, really you're just trying to really track people. And the Model O did perform really great for this. The only issue I have, and I was expecting this because I used to have this issue with Fortnite, is whenever I would swipe up, I would run into the cord. So the cord is very flexible, which is usually a great thing, and it's still a great cord. But over time, mine has become more and more malleable to the point where it really folds up on me. I do have a mouse bungee to try and reduce cable drag. However, it's not preventing it from kind of running into itself in certain cases. It doesn't happen that often, but there were a couple of key moments where I went to try and land a shot where it did cause me to miss because it is a distraction when you run into its own cord. Now, I don't know if this is something that impacts a lot of Model O's out there because I really haven't heard anyone else complain about this, but it did happen on several occasions, so I thought it would be worth noting for all of you guys. And outside of that, that was really the only issue that I ran into, again, when testing this mouse. And again, it only happened several times over, probably 5 hours of Hyperscape gameplay, and not at all in Call of Duty, because it's just the regular multiplayer mode in Call of Duty doesn't have a lot of verticality in it in order for this to happen. Now, aim training is where things got pretty interesting for the Model O. And actually, the Model O, as far as performance and speed, blew my main out of the water, which is the Endgame XM1. I was not expecting this. The Model O does have good skates. It has G skates on it, so it's pretty on par with the Endgame 1 in that department. And the weight is relatively similar as well. So I don't know why, but the Model O, I was just faster on average. To test speed, I did play aim labs, and specifically I played grid shot. Usually I end up in the 250 millisecond range, but with the Model O I was ending in the 225 millisecond range. So I was much faster with it, which again, I'm not sure why. I was definitely just pleasantly surprised. I wasn't expecting it, to be honest with you. I thought for sure I was going to be faster with my main, especially since I have probably 20-25 hours of aim training with the XM1. So the fact that within just a couple of hours I was smashing my grid shot scores was just kind of mind-blowing. So that's where I was said at the beginning of the video, this mouse kind of pissed me off for all the right reasons, and that's why. Now, moving into tracking, kind of like what I said when referring to Hyperscape, the tracking was really on point with the Model O, but it really didn't seem to have an inherent advantage over my Endgame XM1. They seem to be pretty on par, which is to be expected. I mean, both of these mice glide really well, which is very noticeable, when you're doing tracking. And, I guess there's not a whole lot to say there. They both perform great. I wouldn't say one has any advantage over the other. In regards to precision, though, that's where my Model O started to shine a little bit again. I was about as precise with my Model O as I was my XM1, only difference being in with the Model O, I'm able to be just as precise but faster. So I tested this specifically in Kovacs on 1 wall 6 target small. I was just getting consistently better scores with my Model O while maintaining the same consistency in accuracy and precision as I was with my XM1. So overall, the Model O outperformed my XM1, which again is very irritating. Those type of things, it does go to show you that although there are newer offerings out there, that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be better. This definitely makes me wonder why in the heck I ever started to, down this rabbit hole of buying more and more mice. But that's all right. It's still fun for me to try these new mice that are out there, and I'll continue to kind of share my results with you guys. So if you made it to the end of the video, thanks for sticking around, as this is only the second video that I've recorded. If you have any feedback at all, please don't hesitate to leave it in the comments. And if you have any questions in regards to the Model O, don't be afraid to ask. I'll do the best I can to answer your questions. And that's all I have. I'll see you next time.